So, I want to talk today about something very important, and that thing is the way that you should respond to inflation. Um, it's a very, very difficult subject because there's really no right answer, and it depends on your current circumstances, and that's really the thing that I want to touch on. Um, I've said this multiple times. Inflation affects people differently, right? We're seeing 8.5, 9% inflation year over year, which is horrible, right? It's terrible, terrible. And it certainly is putting a pinch on people's budgets and making things worse for them, right? But the thing is that some people are more exposed to inflation than other people, um, because they're more exposed to different categories. Certainly, everybody's exposed to food risk, right? The risk of food prices going up. That's a big problem because food spoils, right? You could buy some long lasting staple items, and that will help you through with inflation, um, right? You could buy bags of rice, giant bags of rice, and you could buy bags of beans and the like things that are going to last, that have a long shelf life, and that would have, if you had done that, that would help you through the inflationary period, right? Because you wouldn't have to buy nearly as much food. But food spoils, and so there's not a whole lot that you can do to protect yourself against rising costs of food. Eventually, you're going to have to cough up and pay up for food. So I don't really blame anybody for saying, geez, food prices are crazy high. It's just the game that we're in. Um, but then, when you look at the components of the consumer price index that are really driving inflation, first it was used cars. If you weren't in the market to buy a car in the last couple of years, um, I'm sorry, but the used car price inflation, the that piece of the inflation index, it didn't matter to you, right? I mean, it will matter to you eventually. Your car will break. You will need to buy a new car, but you'll have a little bit of time to adjust, right? Um, the other thing too is, let's see, fuel prices, right? Let's talk about the pandemic for a second. A lot of people, I mean, a lot of people, uh, ended up working remotely in the pandemic and are still working remotely in the pandemic today, after the pandemic, or I guess arguably we're still in the pandemic, right? Um, but by and large, lockdowns have gone away and work from home has remained because employees like it, and employers are, for the most part, happy to keep their employees happy, right? Um, so you might be driving a lot less today than you were 4 years ago. You might be commuting less. Uh, those those things, they don't affect you anymore. Or the effect of rising fuel prices is much more muted on you, right? If you have the opportunity to work from home and fuel prices go up through the roof, you could conceivably just call up your boss and say, hey, do I have to commute to the office? Now, I get it. Like, you're still going to need to drive around and buy stuff, and to get to place A, place B. You can travel. People are doing vacations again, and like, I get it. Fuel prices are up. That makes everything more expensive. It makes everything in the grocery store more expensive. That's one of the main components to the food price. issue the uh, is the is the energy prices that go into transporting that food, and to the energy prices to and the energy prices to make the food, grow the food, right? So I get it, I really do. But the thing that, and then the other thing is home prices, right? If you refinanced your house at 2% interest, why don't you just stay there, right? Home prices going up doesn't really, it actually benefits you, right? It doesn't really hurt you. Um, and as long as you can afford that interest payment, you've locked in your price. It doesn't matter. Now, if you haven't bought a house, I get it, right? Like, home prices going up with interest rates going up, it sucks. So all of that stuff can happen, right? Like, it really depends on where you are in life, what inflation rate you actually experience. And I would argue that you need to calm down, because you might not be experiencing as much inflation as is being reported by the government. Um, Again, it hurts, but for some people out there, you're just whining because the number is big. You're not actually experiencing the number. Um, so you need to take that into account, and take that into account when you're making your investing decisions. So uh, track your personal inflation rate. And that's all that I have to say today. Until next time, stay rational, my friends.